You have to trust your teammates, always.
Hey folks, it's Paul here from the Cult of Cantona. Hope everybody's okay after a week after the Manchester City result at the Etihad. I think we're all extremely disappointed in terms of the match results. I think United fans felt as if this was a match we could go and win. It was a same old City, turning in a performance when they're not playing well, and then we'll probably go off and have a bogey match this weekend. But look, let's face it, we were overrun in midfield. Bruno, and this is, I know, obviously as a Man United fan, but in terms of somebody who watches every single game, Bruno seemed to throw his toys out of the pram again. We'll keep going back to the system. Amorim came out during the week in his presser saying that he's not going to change the system. And more recently in the presser for the Chelsea game, he said that Jim came to see him and offered him a new contract. Look, I share everybody's frustrations, and I know a lot of the lads agree with us on the show that we were chatting in the group chat during the week saying that we would like to see Amorim given time, but then equally you look at the results, and if these results are going to continue, it's not sustainable to continue losing results and being embarrassed up and down the country in England. I mean, there are some positives at the weekend. Matheus Cunha is back, so if he's fully match fit, you would imagine he'd walk straight back into the team. A lot of positives from the Brian Mbeumo performance against City. Again, he seems like, when you're looking at him and thinking, how can one player come in and play so well, and not knowing the system, and playing so well against Man City? He had a great volley that, in a different match, he would have buried it. I don't think United were helped by the Donnarumma effect. He is a huge goalkeeper. He is very obviously the best goalkeeper in the world. You can see that. It's nigh on impossible to try and get past him. But looking at the likes of Kobbie Mainoo when he came on, now I have to admire Kobbie and say first of all that fair play to you for hanging around. That's what Man United fans do, and nobody more than the fans of United can empathise with you because we watch the games. And it's frustrating for us to watch you come on and have sports of energy and trying to do things, but just not having a midfield partner in the traditional sense. I do feel that Bruno's performances are being affected because he's playing in the middle and he's not playing so much forward in that kind of number 10 behind the strikers type role. It's concerning looking at Benjamin Šeško in terms of his performances. He's still obviously acclimatising to life in the Premier League. We know we can do it. All you need to do is look at his highlight videos from last year and the year before. When he gets going, he will be the player that we want him to be. But again, I'd worry about the service. Just looking, across the back, the midfield, and you'd have to say that he's not getting the service. Again, I think it's my concerns are in terms of the wing backs, your Dallots, your Luke Shaws when he's not playing him in the middle, your Dorgus, individually great players, very exciting to watch individually. But am I the only one that sees that Luke Shaw is making calamitous errors? You know, I won't go into sensationalist comments about stealing a wage and being injured, yada yada yada, over the last years. But Luke Shaw was at fault during the Europa League final. A blind man can see that. He was at fault against Man City. He gets caught in possession a lot. He's not getting any younger. Personally, I would have moved him on during the last transfer window. On his day, he can be really incredible, but he's frankly not getting any younger. And football, as we know, is a young man's game. I think the general age of the squad has dropped considerably, and this is where we need to be. If you look at Man City, if you look at the top teams across Europe, they're buying young and exceptionally talented young players that are coming into systems and it hitting the ground running. It's frustrating for me personally to watch the likes of Mbeumo and Cunha come into that, and you wonder how long it'll be before the club beats it out of them, as it were, in terms of the lack of service or the expectation or the weight of the shirt. I mean, the arguments are many in terms of what United have done to players over the years. You only have to look at Rasmus Højlund and Scott McTominay playing good football at Napoli. You know, how can Rasmus Højlund waltz back into the Italian Serie A and score a goal in his debut? Now, look, it remains to be seen how he'll do for the rest of the season, but you have to be objective enough to look at it and go, what is the fundamental problem at the club? Is it the size of the club? Is it the media reports? Is it social media? What is it that's affecting these players? Why are they unable to perform under pressure? You know, it's a football mentality thing, I think, more so than anything else. But I am encouraged by some things that I'm seeing. I would have liked to have seen Lammens play at the weekend. Can understand why Ruben Amorim left him out against City. But then equally, Bayindir is not the all-action, heavy-going, shithouse goalkeeper. You know, he's a good shot stopper. He got caught a couple of times against City, and he's an absolutely fine backup goalkeeper. But where do we go from here on? You know, when you're looking at where we go, I mean, there's a lot of United fans calling for Amorim to be sacked. I think what personally what I want to happen is not for Amorim to be sacked. What I would like to see happen is for Amorim to adapt to the Premier League. He took a system into the Premier League that has worked well for him elsewhere. But even Jose Mourinho said that he adapts. He adapts to the circumstances. He plays different games, famously with the Inter Milan match against Barcelona in the final, 2010 in the European Cup, the Champions League. Managers need to adapt and completely throw things out the window in order to play the team, not the strategy, you know. But then when you look at that and you think to yourself, well, what if United do go back to a flat back four, or 4-4-2? We don't have the wingers now, because that's the danger. I mean, you're looking at Sancho gone, moving on. You're looking at Garnacho. I have very mixed feelings about Garnacho. But again, we've seen it, like even watching Garnacho in his first couple of games for Chelsea, you'd have to say that he's still doing the very same things that he did for United. He's playing well, he's getting in the box, he's providing assists, but he's getting caught out in his overall play. By virtue of his age, he's 21 years of age. So he's coming back to Old Trafford, United versus Chelsea at Old Trafford this Saturday, 5 o'clock kickoff. It's really anyone's game. You'd have to say that Chelsea are a very strong team. Maresca, though, is very much, like he said himself in his presser a couple of days ago, that he thinks that Amorim is an excellent football coach. So, from a fan's point of view, or a fan channel's point of view, or football journalist's point of view, looking at Amorim, you'd have to say that I'm really concerned. I'm really concerned because the board and the club are, especially with the new kind of head coach ideology, I think that they would be more likely to twist rather than stick if results continue in the same way they have done over the last couple of weeks and into the end of last season. But is it a case of the player power, players subconsciously downing tools because they just don't want to play that system because it means that they have to work that bit harder? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Is it a case of... Now, Amorim obviously is trying to change this. He's trying to get players in who he feels are all in on the Manchester United ideology. Fans, players who admire United, supported them, supported Ronaldo, supported the great teams of the last 15, 20 years, or being inspired by them. So the likes of Cunha and Buemo, consistently injured Mason Mount is a good player and he fits that system really well. But you're looking at him going, can you give us 6 months where you're just not injured? Or is it a case where he's so psychologically damaged by being injured that he's tentatively, in a kind of a hypochondriac-esque way, worried about getting injured and then manifesting that in his body? I don't know. It's just, there needs to be a sports psychologist in there, I think, to toughen them up in that regard. But there are some positives. It looks like my favourite player, Lisandro Martinez, Licha, is very close to coming back. Will we see him against Chelsea? I don't think so. He's been out for 270 days or something. I think the danger with Licha is that there's a huge want for him to get back and get stuck back in and get stuck in again. But the danger there is that he just literally, a la Vidic and Steve Bruce, wants to throw himself literally into everything, which is grand. But by virtue of that, he's going to get injured. And I don't think we can afford to have a Brian Robson type scenario. Look what we did, look how we persevered with Luke Shaw over the years, and look where it gets us. He's in, he's out, he's in, he's out, he's out, he's in, he's coming back from injury, he makes a mistake, there's an error, there's a goal. That's not sustainable. And I know it's very difficult to predict injuries and where that's going and how we can preemptively get on top of that. I mean, that's Wilcox and Barada's job to figure out what players are most valuable and how, I mean, you look at De Ligt, he looks like a fantastic player. Lenny Yoro as well has shown some incredible signs that he's going to be... Bear in mind, Lenny Yoro's still only playing for the under-21s in France, so he's going to be a potential, I would say, captain of his country, maybe even a captain of United down the line. But, going across the park, you'd have to say that Ugarte is he's just not doing it for United. His lacklustre he goes from over applying himself and jumping into everything to kind of just being lost and losing the ball and not doing the business. Casemiro seems to be absolutely justifying his place in the squad, coming in, doing the job, having a steady pair of hands, calming everything down, playing simple balls well. But let's be honest about Casemiro. He's not a tackler. It's not his job. It's his job to get the ball, release it, and move, play forward, keep things moving. And Ahmad just doesn't look himself because he's being played ever so slightly out of position. When are these players going to accept that this is the way they'll have to play for the foreseeable future? Jim Ratcliffe isn't going to get rid of Ruben Amorim. He's just not. He's put his neck out on the line a couple of times by actively supporting him and standing by him and giving him assurances that he's going to be the man going forward. What do you think about Ruben Amorim's current form, his attitude? He seems to be a little bit more media savvy now, where he's not getting so emotional over the last 2 press conferences, it has to be said. He wears his heart on his sleeve. I think he's kind of got in trouble by accidentally oversharing stuff. But in general terms, I like the guy and I like the man in the same way I liked Ole Solskjaer, in the same way I liked Mourinho in a different way. As a United fan, you just have to say that the weight of expectation in managing a club like Manchester United is colossal. It's, sorry Liverpool fans, sorry every other club in the UK, you'd have to say that United are the biggest club. They just are by virtue of revenue and interest. Every day is a Man United news day. But it's a lot of pressure for everyone involved. United are absolutely lambasted every single time they lose. Every time someone has a bad game, it's all over social media. And a lot of United players in interviews over the last couple of years are like, look, I try and stay away from social media. I try not to read the newspapers. But they have family, they have friends, they go out and they have dinner. They're going to talk to people. They're going to hear when someone is particularly critical of them. I think the biggest enemy of Manchester United is the amount of interest that they get on any given day up and down the country, all over the world. We're victims of our own success. And I don't think that's ever going to die down. So I suppose the way out of this hole in terms of the players and getting them up to scratch from a mentality perspective is to get sports psychologists in there. You have to get people in. Like what I'd love to see is, and he's been auditioning via heavy criticism over the last couple of years, is Roy Keane coming back in, being a first team coach, making the lads see and hear, more importantly, by virtue of experience, what's expected of them, what they want, how to wear the badge, how to conserve energy, how to conserve frustration, how to apply ourselves in the right way. It's one of those things. It's like the Fergie era towards the end with the fallout with JP McManus and all of that. That negatively affected the club, and it resulted in the sale to the Glazers. No two ways about that. And I think that victims of our own success, ever since we have done that, there has been a problem in one capacity or another. Slowly manifesting itself season by season. I mean, it has to be said that even, when United last won the league that season, although entertaining, there was a lot of that squad that were not to the highest quality of Manchester United player. I think that's fair. And what happened was, and I think, and you have to, in terms of Fergie in his last season, he knew that he wasn't planning for the future with the squad that he had. He didn't exactly leave United with a full deck. He left 7 or 8 players that were over 30. And he gave Moyes a poison chalice, I think, passing it on. And then just progressively over the years, just through bad management, unrealistic expectations in terms of the types of players that are Manchester United type players. I think that in terms of the academy and stuff going forward, like, where is Cheeto this season? He was a player that United were talking about fairly consistently. Where's he gone? And we don't have to worry about registering him for the Europa League this year. So put him in the squad. You'd worry maybe his attitude, or I don't know, or there's something else going on there behind the scenes again, or they're trying to manage him into the squad. How can he be on the fringes last season and doing a great job at underage level? But there are some grass shoots for the future. I mean, you look at Kai Rooney, and you can't help feeling that we're going to be seeing him very, very soon, and that's very exciting. So that's something to look forward to. But getting back to the Chelsea game, I mean, Chelsea, always a tough match for United. Some great games last season, of which, of course, Garnacho was heavily featured and played really, really well, hence his move to Chelsea to begin with. Can't help feeling that Garnacho will have something to say and a large part to play in the Saturday game against Chelsea at Old Trafford. I mean, it just looks as though it's written for him to come and do us some damage. So usually I'm much more optimistic about these things, but I think United, in terms of a match prediction on Saturday, I'd have to say that I fancy a scrappy 1-1 draw. Sesko has to get going. He has to get going. Otherwise the fans are just going to really, really start attacking him as time goes on, as horrible as that sounds. I think Sesko needs to feel as if he's the man. But I'd say that Cunha will come back and score. I think Chelsea will score first, and Garnacho will either assist or score, and he's going to celebrate like he's won the Euro Millions to try and prove a point. I don't know if there's many positives at the moment to cling to, apart from the ladies winning the other day. But let's say that things need to drastically improve. We will be bolstered by Leach coming back, Cunha coming back, and I suppose, we do have the picking of our full squad going forward, more or less, into this game. With Leach, I'd say Leach will be on the bench, and we might see him towards the end of the match. So I'd say 1-1 Chelsea to score first. Let us know what you think below in the old commentaroos. And thanks for listening and watching the show. We really appreciate it. We'll have an in-studio proper episode coming up in the near future with the lads, and we will have some special guests coming in as well as time progresses. We'll also be doing some online stuff as well, and some giveaways and bits and pieces. So if you want to be part of what we do, if you want to become a member, you can become a member on buymeacoffee.com/Cult of Cantona. Cult of Cantona. Become a member. There's lots of little perks there. We'll be doing some giveaways, bits and pieces, and we're going to be giving away some free beer from Rascals Brewing Company as well. in the next couple of episodes. So become a member if you want to be in with a chance to win some beer for those cold, wintry autumn nights that are coming up. And there's lots of other ways you can support the show too. You can go to YouTube here, or if you're on Spotify, go to YouTube, or if you're on YouTube, go back to Spotify and follow and rate the show. These little things help. Get involved in the comment thread on Spotify. Get involved in the comment thread on YouTube or within our group. We also have a WhatsApp group of which you can join in the banter and the chat, and we have also a Facebook group for various different conversational pieces. We share information there, bits and pieces and bits of banter. So get involved. So very, very tentatively, glory Man United. I'm PBL, and I shall catch you next time. Have a great weekend. And don't let Manchester United ruin your weekend.
You have to trust your teammates, always. If not, we are lost.